Hi, I'm George Hammond, conference producer at Technology Networks, and I'm here to introduce our next talk, Skin Interfaced Electronics, a promising and intelligent paradigm for personalized healthcare. I'm incredibly pleased to welcome Dr. Yangzhi Zhu. Dr. Zhu is an assistant professor at the Terasaki Institute for Biomedical Innovation. He completed his PhD in chemical engineering from the University of California in 2019 and his postdoctoral training in nanoengineering at the University of California in San Diego. Dr. Zhu's research focuses on wearable medical devices encompassing digital healthcare and precision medicine applications. A very warm welcome to you, Dr. Zhu. Following the presentation, we will also have a Q&A session, and we welcome any questions that you may have. Please ask questions using the Q&A system to the right-hand side of the video player. And now, without further ado, I would like to hand over to Dr. Zhu to begin his presentation.
Yeah, thank you so much for the introduction, and thank you so much for providing such a wonderful opportunity for me to join the Laboratory of the Future 2024. So it's my honor to give a presentation to share our recent research work on skin interface electronics. So I'm currently an assistant professor at the Terasaki Institute for Biomedical Innovation. So Terasaki Institute is a non-profit organization located in Los Angeles, in California. This is the night view of our institute. So the institute focuses more on the translational research that impact human health. And feel free, visit our institute when you have a chance to visit Los Angeles. So for me, I have been working in this institute for almost 3 years, and my group has been working on wearable medical devices, including skin interface electronics. So this slide briefly summarize the blue picture of wearables in personalized healthcare. As we know, current healthcare mostly are passive, so patients need to contact doctors after they have developed obvious symptoms, and therefore they need to receive treatments or monitoring by the clinicians or other professionals. So this approach, to some degree, fails in preventing the onset of health conditions. So it's very important for us to think about how can we address this issue, and therefore providing a more intelligent and individualized healthcare for the users. So that's the reason the wearables is emerging, and the wearable technology aims to tackle the limitations of centralized passive healthcare by giving individuals insight into the dynamics of their own physiology. And the long-term vision of the wearable technology is to develop sensors that can be integrated into the formats, for example, the clothing, the wristbands, patches, or tattoos, to continuously, non-invasively probe a range of the body indicators. So this fully integrated skin interface electronics will enable individuals to monitor themselves without expensive equipment or need the help or assistance from the trained professionals. So different, as shown in this figure, so we usually include 3 different types of sensors into those wearable platforms. So including the physical, physiological, and chemical sensors. So all those different sensing modalities need to be integrated to obtain a complete picture of dynamic health. So these sensors will generate a huge amount of the data that will be processed by the advanced algorithms, for example, machine learning, to evaluate the health conditions with a higher accuracy. So this envisioned medical landscape built on continuous, non-invasive point of care monitoring will deliver personalized, predictive, and final preventive healthcare. And we know we can summarize the current wearable devices into three different format for form factor. For example, the skin sensor. So we also call it the skin interface electronics. Another device is named microneedle. And some people also focus on the ocular health. So they developed some smart contact lens to monitor the tear biology. And the current wearable devices, for example, Apple Watch, Fitbit wristband, they of course they provide a lot of important information that can indicate human health, but still most of them are mostly rigid and have poor contact with the skin. That is very important. For example, if the device lose the contact with the skin, the performance will might be unstable. That is which cannot provide the accurate data or accurate results for the users. And besides of that, and all of them were constrained to the specific body positions and commercial health monitors and mostly only track the physical activities and the vital signs, for example, the heart rate or other physical properties. So in this way, they cannot help too much in monitoring chemical biomarkers at a molecular level. So thinking about continuous and non-invasive monitoring, we know there is one product in the market. So continuously glucose monitor, CGM, which already changed the world and significantly improved the life quality of the patients of diabetics. But again, so the CGM still they can only measure or monitor one biomarker, glucose, either from the blood or sweat or other bodily fluids. So therefore, physical, physiological, and chemical monitoring fulfilled by the only one device is the current challenge and the opportunities. So as an engineer, so I graduated from chemical engineering. So I always think about how can I use my background to make something different in this field. So we continue. So that we come back and thinking about the whole picture of the wearable or personalized healthcare. So then finally we think about the non-invasive healthcare. So we are targeting the human skin as well as the body fluid on the skin, the sweat. So we are normally sweating all the time, as we know. So those sweat can provide a rich source of the health indicators. For example, I summarize the list in this slide. It includes the sweat includes the electrolytes, the metabolites, and vitamins and hormones, and of course the proteins and the peptides as well. All those biomarkers will indicate a large amount of the information to indicate the health and can even tell us some health conditions at the very beginning in case before it getting worse. And of course, the skin itself also covers the physical parameters like the body temperature and the skin hydration. So which is important for the athletes when people are doing sports. So as well as the physiological signals such as EMG, ECG, and the EEG. So the skin really provides a library of the health indicators. But the question is that how can we monitor all those biomarkers in and continuously, non-invasive and real-time manner? And of course, this device can also need to be provided a great user comfort. So so that we are always think about how can we use the engineering techniques to update or to innovate the sweat sensor so that can simultaneously monitor all those physical, physiological, and chemical biomarkers. So that's the reason why skin interface the electronics were emerging to address this issue. So, however, there are still a lot of factors needs to be considered because if we really want to achieve the real-time, non-invasive, and continuous monitoring, so the device, as you can see in the right finger, so the device design, fabrication techniques, integration, and also the manufacturing technology needs to be taken care of. And for example, from the materials, so they should have tissue-like mechanical properties. And so those are very important factors because without a good tissue-like mechanical properties, so the device will not have a good contact with the skin. And of course, it's very difficult to be conformal to the human skin. That may reduce or damage the sensing quality of the device. Tissue adhesion is another benchmark to ensure the long-term stability, robustness, and of course the reversibility, because it can always provide the direct and close contact with the skin. And we know the current medical devices, so they don't have such tissue adhesion. Usually they need to apply external medical tape, which cannot which can affect the user comfort to some extent. Also, as we claim, this device will be used for the human and be put on the human skin. So biocompatibility is essential to be considered. So of course, it should be at least safe to use on the human body. In addition, conformability, permeability, minimal invasiveness, and 3D tissue coverage are also important to design the next generation skin interface electronics. So still, even we have those conventional wearable devices on the market, but in order to promote the higher and the better performance of those devices, we still have a lot of work to do and have a long way to go. So as we know the success criteria, and we then designed an aerogel-based multiplex and multimodal electronic skin that integrates the physiological, and chemical sensors as shown in this slide. So we integrate all those sensors in an all-in-one operation, and the whole device is based on the one normal biomaterial named aerogel. So this aerogel consists of a three-dimensional porous structure and with proper porosity. Those 3D porous structure can offer an excellent air moisture permeability, which is very important for long-term user comfort. So, however, we still need to do a fine tune on the porous structure because too high porosity may induce a poor mechanical performance that may make the device lose functions when subjected to the mechanical deformations. For example, uh, twisting, bending, and stretching. So, based on all those considerations, we choose the aerogel and with a very controlled porosity. And those aerogel has a very light weight. So as you can see, it can stably put on a live flower, but meanwhile without damage the flower structure. So as we mentioned before, for the next generation skin interface, the electronics, we need to meet a lot of requirements or conditions. So for example, biocompatibility, flexible, biodegradable, and breathable. So we run all of the validation tests to confirm our aerogel electronic skin has all those advantages and benefits. As you can see, for example, as you can see, we integrated an LED on those flexible aerogel, and you can see even after folding, so the aerogel still can maintain the conductivity and still can make the LED on. As we mentioned before, because those aerogel has a very interesting three-dimensional porous structure, so it can allow the moisture or air travel through the network. So it has kind of the breathability on the device. And we also consider because most current medical devices are based on the silicone or plastic. All those wide pollution will increase the burden of the environment. So in contrast, our aerogel is a kind of the biomaterials and can be biodegraded with time goes by. So it's a kind of the user-friendly biomaterial. So we talk a lot of properties on the aerogel. So then we need to think about how to integrate those electronics or sensors to those aerogel substrate. So as you can here, we highlight all a lot of the sensors we integrated on the aerogel. So it includes the glucose, lactate, alcohol biosensors, and electrical physiological sensors. We use the ECG as a demonstration. And in addition, we can also monitor the body temperature and the skin hydration. Here, we need to highlight the manufacturing method because if we really want to make more impact on the skin interface, the electronics manufacturing method, we need to achieve the cost-effective method, and meanwhile, it can be scalable. So based on all those considerations, we then switch to the screen printing. We designed the mask with the laser cutter and use this mask to print the sensors onto the aerogel substrates, as you can see here. So the screen printing techniques can provide a very high resolution. Even we can prevent the 100 micrometer level patterns on the aerogel substrate. And in order to achieve such high resolution, we customize the fabrication of the ink. So that's the reason we can achieve the high density and the high performance of the device. by the printing techniques. Here, so we also now we have the device, but how can we confirm those devices can achieve the target performance as we claimed before? So, for example, we integrated the lactate glucose and skin hydration temperature sensors on the device. So we needed to ask the subjects or volunteers to do different tasks. During the tasks, we monitor those signal change. For example, we ask the people to do the exercise with a bicycle. As we know, so after exercise or after doing sports, the glucose will be consumed because in order to generate a lot of insufficient energy to support you to do the sports. And after intensive the activities, the lactate will be generated in your blood, and also temperature will be increased, and the heart rate will be increased as well. So all those phenomena, all those signal changes can be accurately detected by our aerogel electronic skin device, as summarized here. But we need to ask a question. So how can you make sure the data you collected or the results made from your device is accurate? And so to answer this question, we always introduce the clinic equipments or devices as a gold standard to validate as a validation. So, for example, for the glucose sensor, we use the blood glucose meter from the market to compare, and we can still get the consistent similar trends with the conventional device. So same as the lactate sensor and the temperature, hydration, and the ECG heart rate sensor. So that is for in the case of the doing sports. We then ask the people to drink or eat in the test. And you can see after eating or drinking, we can accurately detect the glucose change and the alcohol change. And of course, we always use the conventional blood glucose meter and the blood lactate meter to do the validation. So all of those results can confirm that our aerogel integrated electronic skin can provide those multiplex monitoring of different biomarkers, including physical, physiological, and chemical biomarkers in real time and in real time and non-invasive monitoring manner. And but we needed, of course, one advantage of our device is for the multifunctional and the multiplex monitoring. And we still haven't validated the continuous monitoring. So we then conducted experiments, and we asked the volunteer to do the exercise for half an hour. And during the process, we put our device on the phone off of the volunteer and collected the data continuously. As you can see here, we can accurately detect the lactate increase during the intensive activities, and then we picked up 3 different time points to compare the skin hydration and the body temperature and the heart rate to validate the performance of the skin interface electronics. besides, and the conventional medical device will be used to compare the performance with ours. So here, all those experiments and have already provided a proof of concept results that the aerogel-based electronic skin can simultaneously monitoring the physical, physiological, and chemical biomarkers in a non-invasive continuously operation. And due to the benefits of the aerogel, so it can be put on the human skin in a long time without inducing any inflammation or infection. And those aerogel has a pretty lightweight. It will not affect the people's daily activities. So, and based on this work, we have applied for 2 patents, and one startup has been built based on this technology. And then for the next work, as even we already got a very interesting proof of concept results, still we have a lot of work needed to be done based on this technology. For example, so as we or what we have done is only the sensors. So the next step for us is to do the integration. We really want to achieve a fully integrated electronic skin device with wireless communication and advanced power management. And so that can further enhance the practicability of this device. So that is one thing. Another thing, even in this experiments, we only recruited 10 volunteers. That is not far away from to get a more robust validation results. So we continue to have a lot of volunteers, and even we already collaborated with some clinicians in the hospitals. They even can provide the patients for us to validate with our device. So, for example, we already integrated the glucose sensor and the other sensors, so that can we can use this device to monitor the glucose level for the patients with diabetes. So that is ongoing research, and hope we will show a lot of more results in the later the days. So this is for the aerogel electronic skin for the multiplex the platform. So our next work we focus on the physical activities. So we design a piezo resistive pressure sensor and use it to monitor the motion activities from the daily activities. So the current challenge for the pressure sensor, so a lot of work has been done in this field, but however, there's still a very big challenge. So it's very difficult to balance the sensitivity and the working range. Sometimes your device could have a chance to achieve a very high sensitivity, but you cannot guarantee you have a very broad working range. So this is those two parameters are fighting with each other. So how can we balance and can maintain a high sensitivity and wide working range together? So we came back to thinking about our human skin. So the skin structure is a wonderful reference for us. So, for example, the skin is very sensitive to detect, to sense the tiny signals, but meanwhile, it can also have a large working range that can detect, high pressure, low pressure, or other tiny signals. So we came up with a bio-inspired the nanowell-based pressure sensor. So we mimic the structure of the epidermis and try to achieve the similar performance as the human skin did. So here, in order to make it flexible and conductive, we use the silver nanowells as a conductive materials, and we use sandpaper because those sandpaper has a specialized surface roughness who is close to the skin. So, and those final device is based on the sandwich structure. So we use the PDMS as a demonstration, and the schematic are already shown in the bottom finger. So as you can see, if you apply the pressure on the device, so more pathway of the conductivity will be generated. So that means when you apply the pressure, the resistance of the device will be decreased, or we can see the conductivity of the device will be increased. So then we can build a relationship between the pressure and the resistance change. So in this way, we can quantify the pressure levels with the resistance change in a more digestible readout. And here, so we also need to validate the performance of the pressure sensor. As you can see here, we fabricated a very small patch, so that can allow us to put those patch onto the different positions of the human body. So it really depends what you want to monitor. For example, if I will put the device on the rest, it can monitor the pulse. The pulse can give us a lot of useful information, and for example, the heart rate as well. So, and I summarized the list of the pressure sensor here, so we can real time monitor those motions and tiny physiological signals. For example, the wrist bending, bicep flexion, neck torsion, and also those pulse and other finger tapping or pressing and walking, jumping. So those signals can be detected and also monitored by our piezoresistive pressure sensor. As you can see here, we truly made a balance between the sensitivity and the working range by learning from the human skin. Those bio-inspired pressure sensor could have a chance to be used for the both in at home care or in sport medicine or other applications. So this work was already published on the small methods. And here, so either physiological sensor or chemical sensor, or we can integrate all those different sensors onto one patch, and we can apply the engineering techniques to integrate all those sensors and combined with the wireless communication. For example, you can integrate Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or other techniques. And meanwhile, you can learn from the biomaterials that can design some more innovative materials that can enhance the user comfort or the long-term stability of the skin interface, the electronics. But again, because the skin interface, the electronics is a platform technology. So it needs different expertise from different fields. And we still need to do a lot of work in order to really want to push the skin interface, the electronics to the market. So the current challenge in this field, for example, the sensing performance, still is very challenging to sense and monitor very low concentration of the biomarker, because, for example, the nanomole or the picomole. So it really questions the new sensing modalities and techniques. We need to do some study in this direction. And also, for example, the sensor connectivity. So only one sensor, of course, it can provide some information, but it's very limited. So we really need to think about how to connect the different sensors together, and of course, each different sensor will not affect each other. So that means we need to minimize the crosstalk between those sensors. And of course, power supply is another very big challenge in this field. So far, we still need to rely on the batteries or even some small size batteries, but it's still rigid, not fully flexible. So to some degree, it affects the user comfort and the sensor biology interface. So that's the reason we use the aerogel to do the skin interface, the electronics. We need to ensure the sensor has a close and direct contact with the human skin. So that means the bioadhesion or other properties of the sensor itself should be achieved. So that is the current challenge. And for the future outlook, so when we have, for example, we needed to think about if how can we process those large amount of the data collected from the device. So data is data, but they are not the results. Usually for the user, they don't care, or may may not understand the data. So they just want the device tell them we are healthy or not. So when can we meet the doctor or the clinicians? Where can we receive the treatment? Something like that is very, so they only need to know the results. So the way from the data to the results, we need to rely on the sensor intelligence. So we need to apply the machine learning or artificial intelligence to process the data and give the very accurate results that make the people understood their health. So recently, a lot of work has been done in this field. So some people are also reported some in sensor computing and with the skin interface electronics. So that means they can provide the information right away after you put the device on the device, and those devices can connect the mobile phone. You can read your results through the app and in your mobile phone. It's super user friendly, and of course, user engagement and industrial standardization and sustainable manufacturing will be another parameters we need to think about for producing or for fabricating the next generation the skin interface, the electronic devices. And this is our group photo, and we have very diligent and hardworking scientists in this field, and we are trying to use our chemical engineering or electrical engineering to promote the skin interface electronics that can hopefully be really used by the people and promote their health, and can provide early stage diagnosis and or other more intelligent treatment by our devices. So, and based on all those technology, so we now have two startups, and hopefully we can show all those medical devices and in the market soon. So thank you so much, and I'm happy to answer all your questions for this presentation.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zhu, for that fantastic talk. As with all the other talks, we're likely going to have lots of questions from the audience, and I can see that we've received some already, so I'll move straight onto the Q&A now. So, Dr. Zhu, your first question is, what are the benefits for the use of skin interfaced electronics compared to the conventional healthcare management tools?
So yeah, that is a very good question. So for the traditional healthcare equipment, as you can, we can see that in the hospital, it's so bulky and heavy. So you cannot easy, and for the most people, they don't have access to them. So for example, the only way you use them is to contact the clinician and go to the hospital. That is very challenging to assess human health in a more convenient manner. But in comparison, the skin interface, the electronics is miniaturized, is a very small medical patch, and you can use it at home or anywhere you would like to use. And the device is is cheaper than those bunking and heavy equipments in the hospital. This is one. This is the second thing. The last thing is that those traditional healthcare equipment cannot provide the continuous monitoring. So, but only the skin interface electronics can do that. So, but that is very important for people to understand the human health and also can, those continuous monitoring can truly help people to know their health all the time. And if, for example, if their health has some issues or concerns, it can, this device can detect those changes in a very earlier stage. So in case before it getting worse. So those are all the benefits of the skin interface, the medical devices compared to the traditional equipment, traditional tools in the healthcare field.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zhu. That was an excellent answer. And moving on to your next question today, could you provide an estimate for when these products can be brought to the commercial market?
Yeah, so that is also a very good question. So as we say, so even we already achieved a huge progress in the skin interface, the electronics, but in order to make it commercialized, we still had a long way to go. But again, we still have a lot of products already shown in the market. For example, the CGM, we already mentioned the continuous glucose monitor. For example, Dexcom. So one of the pioneer company in the glucose monitor. So they already give us a lot of technology to promise to show, okay, the skin interface electronics can be truly benefited by for the users. Again, so if we really wanted to push other the technologies based on the skin interface, the medical devices, so we needed to think about, okay, so of course the performance, the sensing performance or other therapeutic performance can be achieved or not. The long-term stability can be achieved or not. And of course, the cost can be accepted by the user or not. And also the industrial standardization and the sustainable manufacturing. So we needed to consider all of those factors in order to make those devices commercialized. And also, this is one aspect. Again, we also needed to do a lot of human or animal validations before moving to the market. So that means we needed to do the clinical trials and also get the FDA approval based on those technologies. So this is also all the pathways we have to to go in order to let the skin interface, the electronics, pushing forward to the market.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zhu. And we have time for one final question quickly, which is, what are your prospects about the future of skin interface electronics?
Yeah, that is another great question. So we really think about what is the future of the skin interface electronics. So, but one point we need to highlight those skin interface the electronics will not replace the clinician. So because I always discuss with the clinicians, they ask me one interesting question. So he said, "Hey Yangzhi, if can your device can replace my intelligence and replace the clinicians, can make the hospital disappear?" So of course not. So again, so the skin interface, the electronics is primarily focused on the at-home care. So to provide another convenient pathway for people to know, understand their health, and as in this way, it so it can be used to reduce the burden for the for the clinician and for the hospitals. So they will not fight with each other. So from this perspective, I envision the future skin interface the electronics. So everybody can use it. Everybody can have access to it. And of course, those medical devices can truly tell people what is their health conditions or their health status. So all those data can be uploaded to the cloud or to your app or mobile phone. So your family, the user, the family member, and the clinician or other professionals have access to the data and understand or figure out or your health. And in this way, they can provide a more accurate treatment or or accurate interruption based on all those results data. So so that means that is another point. I assuming the future skin interface the electronics should be based on a closed loop manner. So what does that mean? So that means the future device should integrate the sensor and the therapeutic model together. Once the sensor sense the abnormal signals from the human health and indicate, okay, your health has some issues, so it can automatically trigger the treatment module that can provide a very timely treatment in case the disease or other conditions to get worse. So that is all my basic thoughts about the future of the skin interface electronics. Of course, we can discuss more and trying to figure out more new directions in this field.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zhu. But unfortunately, that is all that we have time for today. Any questions that we didn't have time to get to will be sent to the speaker after the event. And as with all the other talks in the event, this talk will now be available to view whenever you want for the next 30 days. That just leaves me to say thank you once again, Dr. Yangzhi Zhu, and we'll be back soon with the next talk.
Thank you.